Shel, you just gave the opening keynote speech at the second edition of SMX Milan. You talked a lot about engaging employees in social media as brand ambassadors. Can you, for the people who weren't able to attend SMX, can you give us a brief summary of what you told us?
Sure. The point here is twofold. First of all, people respond to experiences. The experiences that they have as a customer, the experiences that they have through customer service and customer support, but mostly the experiences they have with frontline staff. So you want to give people great experiences. The reason for this is that when you share a great experience that you have had with an organization, the people who follow you, your Facebook friends, your Twitter followers, others who pay attention to you in the social space, they read about that and their perceptions are influenced by the experience you had. If you had a great customer service experience and you share that online, which people do, the data supports that, then the people who read what you have said are more inclined to do business with that organization, more inclined to have a perception of a positive reputation for the organization. So getting employees engaged is important because employees on the front line are, frankly, more credible than paid spokespeople like those in the marketing department, those in the PR department, and they're more credible than the people in the C-suite who, of course, have a vested interest in convincing you to spend money with them. The Edelman Trust Barometer bears this out, that employees are far more credible on the front line than higher up in the organization. So getting your subject matter experts engaged in social media on behalf of the company with policies and training to make sure that they're doing positive things can go a long way toward bolstering your reputation and bringing people into the pipeline.
Today, you were attending all of the sessions throughout the day. Some sessions you're probably very, very familiar with. But I also noticed this morning you tweeted from a session on paid search advertising, an area that you're probably a little less familiar with. And you wrote about getting outside your comfort zone. Can you tell me about that experience?
Well, I go to a lot of conferences, and they tend to be social media conferences, and you see a lot of the same sessions, and at some point you just stop learning things. You're just getting new case studies, and coming here where there's an emphasis on search, well, that's something that doesn't come up in most of the conferences that I go to and that my peers go to. So the opportunity to learn about this other dimension that is just as important as anything that I talk about routinely, well, that broadens my understanding of all of this and helps me understand how all of these things interact with each other. So yeah, I would definitely rather go learn something new that challenges me than the same old stuff that I get at the same old conferences all the time.
You were telling me yesterday that although you're based in the States, you've done a lot of work in Brazil in particular, and so you've had this international experience, and certainly Brazil is not Italy, but would you say that a lot of our behavior as people and communicators is similar, or there are big cultural differences that come into play?
Well, there's a lot that is common among us, which probably wouldn't be surprising, but there are absolutely cultural differences that are based on long-standing behaviors and expectations, but also on the way social media has grown within a culture. So in some cultures you might see more of a focus on entertainment and less personal discussion, more about popular culture than how my weekend went or what kinds of problems I'm having with my kids or my teachers or what have you. So I think when you are communicating, it's important to consider multiculturalism, the differences between cultures. But an interesting phenomenon that's arising today is the notion of omniculturalism. That is, when we all get online from different cultures, we're engaging with each other in a shared space. It's sort of a third space. There we tend to use images to overcome language barriers and have a more common culture. So I think all of these factors weigh in the approach that we take to engaging with people and communicating with people.